You have this great line, and I love the story behind it. So if you can take the story, I would love it. But you had this like the rule. I think as a mentor told you that never hire anyone over 35 years old. Do you remember that
Yes.
rule? Can you take
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Because
Oh,
it's
no,
very
no, it's
funny.
great. So I'm interviewing to be the CIO of UNC. And, I'm 34 years old. And I'm thinking to myself, there are a lot of people in their 50s and 60s, way more experienced than me, even an alumnus of UNC. I was a Notre Dame grad and was the number two guy there and interviewing to be the number one at UNC. And the chairman says, I'd never hire anybody over 35. I'm like, what? And he says, yeah, look, it's just math. Your 20s are for getting educated. Your 30s are for building your reputation. Your 40s are for capitalizing on your reputation. And your 50s and 60s are for enjoying your reputation. And he said, by 35, people are burned out from building their reputation. I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that 100%, but I do think there is this sweet spot of, kind of in your 20s into your young 40s where you have physical endurance, and there are plenty of, like this guy at 65 still could have kicked my butt. He was a former Marine, although actually a Marine. You can't say former Marine. He was a Marine. Um, and so he had a lot of energy, but you have mental energy, and there's actually studies about this. Traders past 40, it's just hard. The plasticity of the brain starts to change, and there's also a little bit of lack of fear. There's a great story, and again, you're too young now, but there's this guy, and I don't even like telling the story because now he's become a bad guy. Bill Cosby. But when I was growing up, Bill Cosby was still a good guy. He was a comedian, and he had this story about a kid on a bike. And he said, this kid was amazing, right? He would ride up the swing set and across the top and down the other side and across the top of the fence and doing circles like 6 inches off the ground. And he never fell. And the first time he fell? When an adult told him about gravity. And so when you're young, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what to fear. And that can be dangerous, right? Pomp was in the army, and if you go into unfriendly fire the wrong way, you're going to get killed. And if you go into investments without protection, you can get killed. But Michael Steinhardt, famous hedge fund manager, has this great line. He's like, the great thing about young people is they are willing to try things. And yes, they'll make mistakes, but the mistakes aren't very costly because they don't have a lot of money. So he says, make all your mistakes when you're young, and it doesn't cost you very much. So, and again, Will Smith has a line about this too. I saw him speak once, and a very hypnotic speaker, but he has this great line, right? Fail fast, but fail forward.